All right, good evening. The April 21st, 2025 meeting of the Library Advisory Commission is called to order. Would the secretary call roll for determination of quorum, please?
Chair Golterra,
Here.
Vice Chair Meeker,
Here.
Commissioner Gavitt,
Here.
Commissioner Laverne Davis,
Here.
Commissioner Nicole Davis.
Here.
Let the record reflect all commissioners are present.
Okay, wonderful. Let's please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Ready and begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the approval of agenda. Commissioners, are there any changes to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, may I call for a motion and a second, please, to approve the agenda?
I'll motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please use your iPads there to vote.
There we go.
Motion carries unanimously 5-0.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the administrative update. Mr. Raselius, are you ready? Do you have any staff updates? Sorry, I just do your name like
It's okay.
I
No
just
worries,
wanna
no
call you
worries.
Melvin. Sorry.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and fellow commissioners. Yes, we have two updates. The first update will be on the Children's Library expansion, and I have Katie Mathewson, Youth Services Supervising Librarian, with me here today to make that presentation, and afterwards we'll do the general library updates. So to start off with this presentation, it's going to be on the Children's Library expansion. We just wanted to give you an overview of where we're at, where we're going, and what we are doing. So first off, the library was built in 2007 with a 2,700 square foot section. This was the one that was built in Town Square Park. We had an older one that was in the Los Alamos shopping area, and we moved from there. So all that time, a planned phase 2 expansion was planned contingent on funding. Unfortunately, we received some of that funding through a California State Library grant entitled Building Forward, and that was awarded to us in 2023. That provided us roughly $1.5 million in funds, and we matched it with a 50% match. So what are we doing? We are going to expand our children's library. This screen went dead, so I'll look up at the top here. Okay, it's back. Thank you, sorry. We all have our hiccups here, I guess. So 4,500 square foot expansion of the children's library, and so the intent is to greatly enhance programs, do more story times, have a multi-purpose room, and just increase the available space for our collection in the library to meet the growing demands of our community. So we have a brief video presentation here on why the expansion is important, and this was just recently created, and we interviewed library patrons, myself, Katie, Ashley, one of our children's librarians, and Kevin Kuhn, our foundation president, saying a few words here. So let's go ahead and play the video.
This expansion should matter to everybody in this community because the library betters our community.
My kids enjoy the library now because of the librarians. Number one, they're really nice and they get to know the kids and what they're interested in. This is where a lot of your kids can learn about new topics. By getting those donations in to help build up the expansion, you're really opening up kids' worlds and helping them grow to be somebody different and somebody new.
If you put your pants on, pants on, pants on. If you put your pants on, 1, 2, 3. Leg to the left, leg to the right. A wiggle and a jiggle and pull them up tight.
The Library Foundation knows that the community here is changing in Murrieta, and we really want this library to mimic the needs of our community. I certainly look at this as an opportunity to cement my legacy in being part of a public project for the good of everybody in Murrieta.
Growing up, the history of the library has gone through just as much changes as Murrieta has. We had to go to a different city to use the library. And so not only was that library taking care of their own community, they were also taking care of our community. If you think about the population from 2007 to 2025, the population has already grown significantly, not only for our communities, but come and do business in Murrieta. And that expansion will make sure that not only is this library for books and leisure reading and research, but it's also going to be a community hub for people to get together. Homeschool families, charter schools. There's a lot of people who travel outside Murrieta and go to some of our charter schools here, and they can use this as a space to gather. And that's something that we're already running out of room. And that doesn't take into consideration how much we've already grown in the last 18 years.
Children's represents 60% of our circ and 70 or more percent of our visits. So we really never have had the space that we've needed to even serve the community the way that we want to today. So when I think about how the new library will strengthen and expand opportunities in our community, I think of just this bigger space, including so many more resources for our kids to be able to utilize. And not just our kids, but families.
We are so blessed to be so relevant in this community and so needed, but honestly, just not having those age and developmental specific areas for our younger kids to play, it makes it really difficult because we have our babies trying to explore their world, we have toddlers building their blocks, and we have tweens trying to do their homework, but all in just one space.
A few of the challenges that the library is facing is just overcapacity, overusage. From day one, we have been bursting at the seams in terms of program attendance, people using the library. It feels very crowded. It's always high energy. Just being able to socialize and have that space for them is crucial. So I think that speaks to the need of the expansion project and more available space for our programming.
These people here have really taken care of my child to the point that she asks me every day, "Mommy, is it time for story time?" It's not just the programs, it's the people here too that have made such a difference in her life. And we're very thankful for them. We're very grateful for the opportunities that the library has given for her to grow. I think that the expansion is only going to make that even better and benefit even more kids.
The community support matters because it's truly an investment in our future. The children are our future, and investment in them really speaks to the value of our community and support for what our community can become as we grow into the future.
It's important for the community to know that expanding the Murrieta Public Library is not just important to families with young kids, it's important to all of us. By offering more spaces for kids to learn and play and explore, we're helping to create the next generation of great citizens for Murrieta.
We're really excited about you being a part of this. No amount is too small. And so it'd be really important for you to be a part of this, and we're looking forward to that opportunity to have you join us.
These are my glasses, this is my book. I put on my glasses and open up my book.
Okay. And so as you can see, that was Lisa, one of our storytellers. She's a great storyteller, has an amazing voice, and she does our baby story time, and she's just phenomenal. And you can just see in the eyes of those young children, right? Like, this is why this is why we're doing it, right? This is what we're doing it for. This is who we're doing it for. This is for our community, for the future of our community. So that was a great production. It was for our library foundation. So right now they're in a fundraising campaign, which I will mention later in the slides. Let's see here, going on to the next slide. So what exactly are we doing? Going back to the project site, as you can see, for those of you that have been to the library, we have the Carol Carson Garden of Verses right there. That's what exists right now. The project space is going to be included within those yellow boundaries. And what we're going to do is expand the building out into the current Garden of Verses and expand the current Garden of Verses out to the sidewalks. As you can see, the line goes all the way out to the sidewalks. So not only will we get a bigger building, we'll also get a bigger community space for our garden. And I'll let Katie take the next few slides here.
Thank you. Okay, so on the right-hand side with those two pictures, that is currently our children's space. And you can see how it expands into the back. It's not a huge space. And on the left-hand side, that picture is particularly important because that's the space that we need to expand. What you can't really see is all the board books, the picture books, the beginning leveled readers. And that's for that whole group from 0 to 5 that we really need to offer more space to. So this particular rendering that we have, you can see already just open, inviting space for exploring and learning and playing. Off in the left-hand side, that's more of a toddler space. There's manipulatives on the wall. There's more of an exploration station feel where kids can really start practicing more of their fine motor skills and also just learn and play and imagine. Off on the right-hand side, you can see a caretaker that's getting some work done while her baby is safely ensconced in a play space where they can be safe there and not just wander away. Oops, I think I kicked something again. That's okay.
Our monitors keep going off.
Yes, it's fine. Beyond the caretaker space, you can see the little tree. There's a quad table there. We'll have 4 computers there that will be age and developmentally appropriate for the kids so that they can safely learn and explore on there as well. The shelving units that we have, all of them are child-sized, and they really invite and encourage curiosity and imagination and just offer a chance for kids to browse and find and seek and just learn more about their worlds. So in this picture, you can see a lot of the outdoor space that we're hoping to be able to incorporate. But more importantly, you can see in the pink all of the expanded space. Most important in the lower bottom part there is our multi-purpose room space where we can have a retractable wall so that we can finally incorporate dual programming into the mix so that we can literally have 2 different storytime programs happening at once. And then in the top section, you can see we'll have a family restroom, and then there's also going to be workspaces, an actual workroom, storage spaces, all for children's staff. And obviously you can't quite see it here, but we're super excited about the fact that we're going to have glass, so we're going to be able to have an increased sight line, and that's something we don't currently have right now. And then let me show you a little more in depth of the outdoor space. So this is proposed. It's not, totally done in stone or anything. Off to the left, you can see ADA accessible planter beds where kids can actually be learning more about the growing cycles and how to plant, how to take care of the world and the earth. You can also see a little dip in the grass space where we're hoping to have a mini amphitheater. We're really envisioning that as a space where we can do outdoor story times and also, put together a chance for kids to have a play theater. Obviously, right now we don't have that right now. And then the one thing I do want you all to be aware of is that even though it looks in the picture as if that is grass, we will, of course, be offering some kind of a low-water turf substitute because we don't want to make any of the water districts upset. And then this is just another angle for this. You can see all of the spaces for lots of interesting and drought-resistant plants, and lots of spaces for not just our children, but for our families to enjoy and socialize together. And then one more picture. Again, you can see off on the left-hand side those ADA accessible planter beds. You can see varied seating for everybody to enjoy. And of course, the big windows and the blue line spaces, that's going to be the actual expansion. Okay.
I'll go ahead and take this. Thank you, Katie. That was a great explanation. So fundraising, yes, as I mentioned earlier, the project budget is contemplating at least $550,000 through fundraising, and this was based on the original estimates provided to us from the architect firm. And so, but 1.5 million would be even better because of, we all know rising construction costs continually increase every single year, and especially lately. So we want to make sure that the project is seen through fruition, and we are actually able to get all the things that we were hoping and desiring for in that fancy interior that we showed you at the last slides. So what we're doing is we're pursuing a grassroots approach. We're approaching potential large-scale donors, and this is all in coordination with our Murrieta Public Library Foundation, so thank you to their support. So right now, we have raised approximately $240,000 towards the project, which is fantastic. I think Friends of the Library is going to donate $100,000, Foundation has $100,000, and we've recently got a few additional donations, including one from the Professional Women's Roundtable for $10,000, no, I'm sorry, $5,000, and then also, actually one just recently came in, $1,000 from ABC Village. Thank you, ABC Village. So, so we appreciate the support, and so it's really going to take a community effort, right? So what we're asking all the commissioners and anybody who is watching, we need help spreading the word of our fundraising efforts. So whether that be presentations to community groups, any community groups that you have a contact with, we'd love to do a presentation. We did Coffee at the City. Recently, we did the Medical Leaders Luncheon over at I think Rancho Springs. We also did. We're going to do some at PTAs. So any groups that you may have contact with, we'd be happy to present on the expansion. Booths at community events, we've been kind of out there at every single event. We were at Firefighters Barbecue. Most recently, we were at Extravaganza. And so, we're just trying to get the small dollar donations, large dollar donations, because every single bit counts. And as the community supports it, it shows the support for the project in and of itself. So another thing is following the Murrieta Library Foundation and sharing their posts. Right now, they're becoming more active on their social media. So if you could share their posts, we'd greatly appreciate it. And any connection to potential donors, any businesses that you feel that would be interested, or individuals that want to leave a lasting impact on our community and for our future generations, we'd appreciate that connection. And last but not least, the foundation is also doing a GoFundMe. So for those of you streaming live at home, there's the QR code. You can go ahead and scan that, and it'll take you straight to the GoFundMe page. And again, any amount, big or small, truly helps. So whether that be a $1 donation all the way up to $500,000, if anybody's out there listening and you have $500,000, we'd greatly appreciate it. But either or, it's a community effort, right? And so I think each dollar really speaks volumes to the importance of the project and the impact it can have for our future generations. And that is the end of our report, so we'd be happy to answer any questions or receive any comments from our commission members. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Rosales. Every time I come in, you get to see a new video, a new face, so I really appreciate, I think we really appreciate your continued efforts in trying to make this thing a reality, this expansion a reality for us, so thank you so much. Okay, I'm sorry, staying on with Mr. Rosales, may we now have your update, please?
Sure. Let me get the next page out here. So this is just the general library update. So a few things I wanted to update the commission on. First, I have been receiving a lot of questions about the impact of the dissolution of the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Recently, as you may or may not know, there was an executive order to get rid of the Institute of Museum and Library Services. And so people have been asking me, what is the impact on our library? What does that mean locally for us? And so I just wanted to make that clear so we all understand what that means for us. So what it primarily means for us is, well, so let me back that up. So what the IMLS does is provide federal funding to the California State Library. And so the California State Library administers those funds in what is known as LSTA, or Library Services and Technology Act grants. And so they have grants that are set up for the California libraries to apply to. And so what it means is that when the IMLS is dissolved, or it is dissolved, so basically the federal funding for those grants also disappear. And so you might be wondering, what do we have active right now? Fortunately, we don't have an LSTA grant active right now. We had one for ebooks for the community, of $20,000 grant application, but that grant has been unfortunately terminated. And some of the past projects that have received LSTA funding would be our Library for All. So we expanded our Library for All program. That's the program that we do for patrons with disabilities. We expanded it to become for all ages. That was one thing. eBooks for All, which I had just mentioned. Our Library of Things, if you haven't been into our library, we check out different type of materials that are not normally circulated in libraries. Some of the items in that collection had been purchased through an LSTA grant. We also did our Earth Day celebrations. We had a local history storytelling grant in the past. Our seed library was also funded through LSTA. And the pollinator demonstration garden that you see on the outside, closest to Town Square Park, that was also funded by LSTA. So with that being said, basically we will have less opportunity for grant projects moving forward with the limited budget that the state provides. So looking, other than that, staffing, those things are not being cut. That is locally funded through our library district fund and also a portion of Measure T. So that our services will not decline, but unfortunately to expand them, we'll have to get creative and find other ways of expanding services without those federal funds. So I just wanted to make that clear. I'll continue. Let me continue with the update, and then I'll open it up to any questions that you may have after this. Library, moving on, shifting gears. The library has launched a new monthly partnership with the Riverside County Law Library titled Unlocking Legal Resources. It's held every second Friday of the month from 3 to 5 p.m. And so basically we partnered with them, and they have a law librarian actually at our site, and they have access to all the legal databases that the law library has here at our library. So if you need to do some legal research, that is the prime time to do it. So we're really excited about that partnership. Another partnership that we had just completed is with the Riverside County Department of Public Social Services, and they offered in-person assistance with cash aid, food assistance, health coverage, and they pretty much do one-off ones. So they did one recently on April 9th, and we're gonna try to schedule them to come out again. Another partnership that we have established is with the Riverside County Workforce Development Center. They will be on site every Monday from 10 to 2, and they offer career planning, resume assistance, vocational training, and job market guidance, and pretty much just helping people find work, right? We had our In and Out cover to cover reading program, and it ended on April 12th. That's when they, In and Out, generously provided some certificates or incentives, reading incentives for kids who read at least 5 books or 300 minutes of continuous reading. And so right now we don't have the stats, but we're totaling them up, and I'll report them at the next meeting. And then another new update is we are now offering Print. It's a new mobile printing service. With Print, you can basically print directly from your phone, and it's a more user-friendly experience than what we had prior. Prior, you had to, upload email it to an email address, and then it was kind of convoluted. So this one should streamline it and make it easier if you have your own laptop or if you have your own mobile device and you want to print directly to our printers. And last but not least, I just wanted to mention that the Friends of the Library are doing a Pick Up Sticks fundraiser on May 3rd, where 25% of the proceeds will go back to the Friends of the Library. So if you don't have any dinner plans on May 3rd, Pick Up Sticks is the place to go, and just mention the mention the fundraiser, and the proceeds will go to the friends. And that's the end of my report, so I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Hello.
Hello.
With the Library for All, with the cutting of that, does that mean that's going to go away? Or does it mean we just need to figure out a different way to fund it?
No, it's not going away. So basically, it's going back. Basically, it's back to what it was before, a program that is for adults with disabilities.
Right. She gave us a presentation. And it
Yes, correct.
amazing.
Yes. So fortunately, she meaning Agnes Rita, our adult services library supervising librarian, she is fantastic with a zero budget mentality. So she actually presented that at the last American Library Association of how do you do Library for All with a zero budget? And so she's going to utilize all of those ideas.
Wow.
Yeah. But she's fantastic, and she always comes up with some great ideas. So in terms of adults, we don't anticipate that going away anytime soon.
Okay, great. Thanks.
I have a question.
Sure.
Going back to the fundraising, has there been an uptick in donations as a result of the lawn signs that have been placed around in the community?
Well, we can't really say for sure where the donations come from. So they can either say anonymous or they'll put their name on it. I can't say for sure how they saw it, but we do know when we've done some events inside of the library. So we did it during our Double Dog Tales. We did one during our Lego Derby, and you can see that the donations happened like right when we were doing the table or a little bit after we were doing the table. So we can probably safely say that those particular ones were from tabling. But in terms of the lawn signs, they've been out, so when a random donation comes in, can't really say where that one's coming from.
If there's an event coming up and they donate a booth to you to have at the event, can they write that off? Can we
I
pitch
can
that?
get that answer for you. I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure. But I can check with our city attorney and see if that's a possibility also with the foundation.
Okay.
To see if that's a reality.
If not, is that something in the budget to get booths at large events like that?
Currently, no. We were just basically asking for an available booth without charge, hopefully.
Okay.
Obviously, we know we have to spend money to make money, but we're trying to keep the investment cost low.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to public comments. So at this time, we will take public comments. Any person may address the Library Advisory Commission on any subject pertaining to city business, which does not relate to any item listed on the agenda. Normally, no action would be considered or taken by the Library Advisory Commission on any matter not listed on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Madam Secretary, do we have any non-agenda public comments?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have any non-agenda public comments.
Okay, having recognized that, let's move on to the consent calendar. So for approval of items 1 through 2. All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be considered routine by the governing body and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. There will be no discussion of these items unless, before the governing body votes on the motion to adopt, specific items are removed from the consent calendar for separate motions. May I call for a motion and a second, please, to approve items 1 and 2 on the consent calendar? Any motions at all?
Motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Let's please vote at this time.
Motion carries unanimously 5-0.
Okay, let's move on to our discussion items. Mr. Rosales, may we have your report on the materials selection policy, please?
Yes, Chair. Let's let it get up there for a minute. Okay, great, awesome. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and fellow library commissioners. This presentation is on our materials selection policy, and let me go ahead and go through it. So what we're going to do is present the updated materials selection policy. The reason why we updated it is to confirm compliance with California Assembly Bill 1825, the California Freedom to Read Act. And then we're going to solicit input from our Library Advisory Commission and request a recommendation for adoption. So about AB 1825. So the California Freedom to Read Act, basically what it does is requires public libraries that receive state funds, and we do receive state funds, particularly with our Building Forward grant, which is the grant that's funding the library expansion, to adopt a written and publicly accessible collection development policy by January 1st, 2026. And that collection development policy is basically another term for our material selection policy. So it's the same policy. So what does it include? It should include selection and deselection guidelines of materials that we purchase for our library collection, reconsideration process for materials that are challenged, basically books that people want to take out of the library. It includes protections against censorship and discrimination in access, and also safeguards library staff for making good faith collection decisions. So what are the key provisions of AB 1825? So basically what the law states, and I'm summarizing this and it is included in your agenda packet, basically no censorship based on topic, author identity, or viewpoint. It focuses on inclusive and diverse perspectives, which should not be excluded. Provides for community input for a formal reconsideration process, provides staff protection. Basically, it says that library staff can't be disciplined for curating inclusive content in good faith. And this applies to city and county libraries, but the law specifically excludes school libraries. So we are a city library, so this law does apply to us. So policy review and legal compliance. We have made a few minor tweaks and edits, and the policy has been reviewed by our city attorney, and they have determined that our policy aligns with all the elements required under AB 1825, the Library Bill of Rights, and the Freedom to Read statement by the ALA, which is also included in your agenda packet. So the material selection policy in and of itself, what is it? What is its purpose? It's basically a guide for our librarians to develop a balanced, representative collection of all the viewpoints in the community. It ensures access to diverse viewpoints, formats, and audiences, and it supports the educational and cultural and recreational needs of our community. In that, it also includes a reconsideration process, as I had mentioned earlier, and basically that's a multi-step transparent process. So the first point is that patron brings up a concern and they bring it up to the staff. It could be the staff at the desk, could be an email. They bring it up to the staff then brings it up to the supervisor. The supervisor will then review it, make a determination, and if the determination is not to the liking of the concerned individual, they can submit a formal request for reconsideration to the library manager, myself, or whoever is in this position. And then if they still are disputing the determination by the library manager, then an appeal can be made to this very body here, the Library Advisory Commission. And if they're still not satisfied with the determination of the Library Commission, a final appeal can be made to the Library Board, which is in essence our City Council. So that's kind of this process. And so basically, what this process does is it ensures that materials are not removed arbitrarily or with any sort of bias, right? It goes through several steps and each step is transparent. So what are the responsibilities and protections? The library manager does hold the final responsibility for material selections. The librarians use this policy as a day-to-day operating tool to base their decisions on the policy for their collection development. But it reiterates several times that parents and guardians and caregivers are responsible for the children's use of the library. It is not the right of one family to say that a book is not right for another family, right? So it relies heavily on the responsibility of the parent or guardian. And basically, it protects staff from any retaliations to make sure that they are abiding by clear and transparent policies. So what does this mean for the Murrieta Public Library? Basically, it positions the library to retain state funding, right? So we abide by AB 1825. We'll be able to continue to receive state funding now and in the future. It reinforces our role as a welcoming, inclusive, and intellectually free space, regardless of your viewpoint or position, and empowers staff and protects the rights of all patrons who come in our doors and whatever viewpoint that they happen to hold. And then it supports public trust in our collections, that it is fair and transparent and unbiased. So the action requested to you tonight is to review the attached collection development policy or material selection policy, discuss it, and either A, provide any feedback or additional recommendations. But if there are no further revisions suggested tonight, then we make a request to make a motion to recommend the adoption of the policy. So that is the end of my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions or receive any comments.
Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments?
I do. I have one question.
Sure.
Is there in this policy, and I didn't see it, it could be there, method of parents and children giving indication as to the selection that goes to the library?
I'm sorry, I don't quite you mean
the selection of the books.
Do parents have an opportunity to provide input?
And the children.
Yes, yeah, we do have comment cards that people can either make recommendations for purchase. They can always pass those comments along to the staff as well, and we take them into consideration. And we always get people contacting us to buy certain books, and we'd be happy to take those into consideration as long as they abide by the policy laid out here.
Right, and the cards are in the library.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The cards are in the cards?
Oh, yes, they are in the library.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can provide just a little bit more information. In the children's department, I do have just an item request form. And so most of the kids know about it, and a lot of the parents do too. And so sometimes they'll take them home and then bring them back to me. Sometimes the kids will just fill them out right there. It's a really easy way for me and the rest of my staff to just see what the kids are really looking for and what the parents are looking for as well. And 9 times out of 10, whatever is written down, as long as it does follow the guidelines, I will ultimately end up purchasing.
You speak of adults with disabilities, and the same policy applies to the children with disabilities, correct?
Yes, that's correct. This collection, or the material selection policy is applicable to our entire collection.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? I had skipped this part before. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comments about the material selection policy?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have any public comments.
Okay. Are we ready at this point to make a motion and a second to approve this policy?
Yes.
Okay, somebody needs to make a motion.
I make a motion to approve the material selection policy as it is.
Laverne Davis, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's vote at this time.
Motion carries unanimously 5-0.
Okay, at this time, we're going to go ahead and move on to the commission members' announcements. Commission member announcements is the opportunity for commissioners to provide miscellaneous reports and announcements. Excuse me for 1 second. Okay, so at this point, Vice Chair Meeker, do you have any public comments?
I do not, thank you.
Commissioner Gavitt.
No, I do not.
Commissioner Laverne Davis.
None, thank you.
And Commissioner Nicole Davis.
None as well. Thank you.
No problem. Let's continue with, sorry, I made it assumptive that I don't have any public comments at this time either. Who am I anyway, right? Let's continue with commission members' request to add items to future agendas. As you know, we meet limited times during the year, so if you have any requests for future agenda items, this would be the wonderful time to do that. I just have one. I just have the one, Mr. Rosellis, about we hear lately about not departments, but like funding being cut from one location. Our basically our Murrieta history section of our library has been cut down, or I'm not even sure what that looks like at this point. Kind of like the state of things right now, the funding's being cut from one source, but now we're finding out it's coming from another, or the funding hasn't been totally cut, it's just coming from a different source. Do you foresee any more budget, I don't want to say cuts, but anything monetary that's going to affect this project moving forward?
Are you referring specifically to the expansion project?
No. Oh. I call it the project because we're just ever growing. Over the last 22 years I've been in the city, everything just keeps growing at an infinite rate, specifically recently.
Sure.
Just like books to the library, kids programs, what we're doing for our disabled community, all of that's super important. Mm-hmm. And I'd hate to see that funding go away. Mm-hmm. Do you foresee anything coming around the bend here that's going to have us concerned about our financial future as far as the library goes? I don't want to blanket it just to our expansion program.
Oh, sure,
just the essentials of what we do right now.
Sure, yeah, we'd be happy to add that to the agenda for the next meeting. However, just to answer very briefly, we do have two funding sources that I had previously mentioned. One is property tax, which comes through our library district fund. And that is our main source of revenue. The second source of revenue is Measure T. Measure T is primarily for public safety. However, we do get a small little tiny sliver of that to provide additional funding for our budget. So through those two funding sources, that's how we have our revenues. And unless there is a large economic downturn where sales tax goes down and property taxes go down, then I don't see a huge cut to our budgets locally. But I'd be happy to dive deep into our budget and at the next meeting and provide a full report on our revenues and expenditures.
Okay. And what were my second question is, what were some of the venues you suggested? You suggested like PTAs at schools, going and talking to them. A lot of people are doing their spring carnivals and everything at schools right now. It's a great time to get out. Is there any, well, I've just named a couple, but is there any other places you think, or you really want us to come up with some ideas on how to best?
Sure. If you're referring to the presentations about the library expansion and how we can get the word out for the expansion and the fundraising, really we're open to ideas. So we've gone to, I think, the Rotaries, we've gone to market nights, we've gone to, obviously the bigger events. Right now we're scheduling some with the PTAs. We've gone to some of the HOAs in the area. So yeah, if any community groups you think would be interested in supporting this project, we'd be happy to make more like a 10 to 15 minute presentation. We tried a 5-minute one, and that one was just a real and it was over. So so maybe 10 minutes minimum would be nice.
Exactly. Okay, I was thinking like our right here, we have a district PTA or a district library committee right here in Murrieta. And they used to meet, what was it, monthly? I think it was monthly they met. And all the PTA presidents and vice presidents from each school would show up to these library committees. And then they would just filter down to the elementary schools.
Oh, okay.
I think one-stop shop with a lot of exposure may be the, and I don't know who the contact is, but I'll find out for you.
Okay, great. Yes, we've requested the help from Dr. Ward Anders. Andrews, yeah, superintendent for MVUSD. So he's been helping us schedule these with the PTA. So we're grateful for his support for the project.
Okay.
I do think that'd be a cool thing to add to the agenda, like a time to share like fundraising ideas, or I know like we can just email about it throughout the time, but I think it'd be kind of cool to hear from everybody too.
Absolutely. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Okay.
Okay, I believe that for now, those sound like 3 different agenda items we can add till next, for next meeting. Do we happen to know when our next meeting is? Sorry, I didn't mean to get you out there, yeah.
Madam Secretary can answer that for us.
June 16th, okay. All right. And let's see. And lastly, you may request anything you like. Okay, so I think we're good. So let's move into adjournment. With no further business, may I ask for consensus to adjourn the meeting? Each commissioner should respond aye or nay.
Aye.
Aye? Okay. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Yay.